Welcome to our continuing coverage of the 2020 Illinois primary.
We want to bring you the very latest results on the hot races around the area. The hottest of them all, the race for U.S. President, former Vice President Joe Biden, has been surging in recent weeks as Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders looking to keep his nomination hopes alive.
Let's check in with our Judy Hsu, who's been tracking the results all evening long. Hi, Judy.
Hi, Alan and Cheryl. Even though some polling places stayed open until 8 o'clock tonight in Illinois, it was right around that time that a projected winner was called here in this state, and that is former Vice President Joe Biden. You can take a look at the results in so far right now, with 52% of the precincts reporting Joe Biden leading, with 58% to Bernie Sanders, 37% right now. So much talk, as you know, about these being extraordinary times, and these are the first primaries to be held with the uncertainty of the COVID-19 pandemic. There were many questions, as you know, going into today's elections. Illinois set to be the second largest prize in terms of delegates tonight, with 155 at stake. Again, Joe Biden, the winner here in Illinois tonight. Also want to show you the results on the Republican side. There was another candidate on the ticket besides President Trump, and ABC News projecting early tonight the president will win in Illinois, and that giving him enough delegates to be the Republican nominee officially. And now moving to the biggest delegate prize of the night, that is Florida, with 219 delegates at stake. It did not take long for that primary to be called, with nearly all precincts reporting tonight 62% for Joe Biden, with Bernie Sanders 23%, a very wide margin there. Florida traditionally has a high early voting population and those who vote by mail, so those tabulations actually came in rather early tonight. Now in Arizona, their polls just closed, so we will be tracking those numbers for you as the evening continues, but I think we just have some. Oh, we don't have results yet. All right. I thought we were going to turn around and see some of the early returns. So we're going to track that for you. They did just close literally just 3 minutes ago here tonight in Arizona. So the other big challenge for both campaigns leading into tonight is, of course, COVID-19. Both campaigns canceling events, instead doing a virtual push for votes at the last minute. And tonight, Joe Biden speaking to his supporters via live stream. This happened just a short time ago from Wilmington, Delaware. Take a look.
Our campaign has had a very good night. We've moved closer to securing the Democratic Party's nomination for president. And we're doing it by building a broad coalition that we need to win in November.
Sanders speaking to his supporters, actually saying very little about the primaries today, instead addressing more on the steps the federal government, he says, needs to take to protect Americans during the COVID-19 pandemic. So again, Illinois and Florida going to Joe Biden tonight. We are still waiting for Arizona. Tonight's results move that delegate count. Here is where things stand. Joe Biden with 942, Bernie Sanders with 729. Some have said that with the results tonight, mathematically, it would be difficult for Sanders to turn things around. We will wait and see. Alan.
All right, Judy, thanks so much for a look at those national results. Well, COVID-19, the concerns regarding that had most of the campaigns changing their plans on this election night. That includes the candidates you see here who are vying to become the next Cook County State's Attorney. You see also the incumbent there, Kim Foxx. She is facing off against 3 Democratic challengers. We'll take a look at the results here. Foxx, at this point, of course, this campaign has been under the shadow of the Jussie Smollett case for its entirety, but she is pulling off a strong lead at this point, 47% to Bill Conway at 33%. Conway, a former prosecutor himself and a Navy veteran who had a large bankroll with the help of his billionaire father. Donna Moore now following up with 14%, and former Alderman Bob Fioretti at 5% on that side. On the Republican side, the race between these two candidates here, you're looking there at Christopher Von Cook and Pat O'Brien. We'll take a look at the results here. O'Brien himself at 73%, quite a substantial lead over Von Cook tonight at 27%. Again, this is with 72% of the results in at this point. And our political reporter Craig Wall now is live at the Hotel Essex. This is just across from Grant Park, and that is where Kim Foxx is expected to speak about what she sees happening there tonight. Hi, Craig.
Hey, Alan, you know, this is really shaping up to be a tale of 2 different voting blocks in the race for Cook County State's Attorney's Office. Kim Foxx dominating in the city against her challenger, Bill Conway, 113,000 votes to about 57, so nearly double the votes he has. But in the county, a completely different tale. At the last touch, they were within 2,000 votes of one another. So in the county, it's kind of a neck-and-neck race. Now, with the political landscape, of course, being dominated by concerns about the COVID-19 pandemic and the new focus on social distancing, limiting how the candidates conducted the final days of the campaign, Kim Foxx released a video today. Instead of what we would would have normally seen happen. A lot of campaign stops on Election Day, meeting and greeting voters. Bill Conway had scheduled to do a teleconference with reporters at 8:30. That now has been pushed back to at least 9:15. He also released a video earlier today and is awaiting the results at home. Now, not too long ago, this race, as you mentioned, Alan, was dominated by talk of the Jussie Smollett case. Conway pouring millions of dollars to flood the TV airwaves with attack ads against Kim Foxx. She also had quite a bankroll behind her and has campaigned on her criminal justice reform record and her efforts to focus on prosecuting violent crimes. Again, all of the candidates have canceled what would have normally been election night parties or gatherings with large numbers of people. Kim Foxx is going to just have family upstairs and staff and the few reporters who are here at the campaign. We hope to know something soon, but at this point, no word yet. Her campaign was supposed to give us about a 5-minute warning when she might come down and say something, but I think we would probably wait to hear something from Bill Conway's camp first. Back to you in the studio.
All right, Craig, thank you for that update. Now, another closely watched race is the congressional race in Illinois in the 3rd District. Incumbent Dan Lipinski facing some challenges tonight from 3 other Democrats. Of course, Lipinski, an 8-term lawmaker who took over this office in 2005 from his father. There are also 3 other candidates on the ballot in this race for Republican. But right now, let's take a look and see what the numbers are coming in tonight in the race for Republican. In this 3rd District race, we're looking at the numbers right now. As you can see, Mike Fricillone with 56% of the vote, with 68% reporting. Catherine O'Shea at 34%.
Let's turn now to Illinois' 14th district. As you see, it covers a large swath of 7 different counties out in the western suburbs and north and northwest suburbs too. You've got a total of 7 Republicans on the ballot in this race, every single one of them hoping for a chance to challenge first-term Democrat Lauren Underwood come this fall. Here's how things are shaping up right now. Jim Oberweis, of course, a long-term name in terms of Chicago area politics, the dairy company owner at the top spot with 25%. Illinois Senator Sue Rezin, state lawmaker since 2010, in second place. The third place person right now, Catalina Lauf. This is an interesting, certainly a millennial vote here. 26 years old. She served as an advisor in the Trump administration in the Commerce Department. So she's at 3rd place right now in the 14th district.
Now let's move on to the 6th District, where another first-term Democrat, Sean Canston, will be trying to hold on to his seat in November. Battling out, of course, let's take a look at those numbers as we see on the screen. For the Republican primary here, Jeannie Ives, 71% of the vote, the former West Point graduate and U.S. Army veteran, going up against a transplant surgeon, Jay Kinsler, with 29%, with 55% of the precincts reporting at this hour. Now, Illinois voters are headed to the polls on Tuesday for the primary election despite COVID-19 pandemic.
Well, they showed up there today, maybe not in the numbers that people were hoping for, but many of them certainly had concerns. There was a debate going on about even whether or not this vote should be carried out on this voting day. Let's turn to our Ravi Beshwal. Ravi?
That's right, Alan. Cheryl, it turned into quite a debating point in the last 48 hours going into the primary vote, but it did go ahead, and at this point it does seem indeed that the turnout has been somewhat lower in terms of in-person day of voting compared to what's usual here in the state for a presidential primary. People, though, getting out to cast their vote for that and for a slew of congressional and judicial seats. Due to polling place changes and late openings, the Cook County Clerk's Office said it received a court order to permit 40 suburban Cook County precincts to extend voting by 1 hour to 8 p.m. Many people may have been scared away from the polls, but they cast their ballots anyway.
I wasn't going to come. It was a difficult decision, but I'm like, it's my civic duty. So I came out. I know that over here it's a lot of older people. I want to be safe. I want them to be safe.
Antibacterial wipes and hand sanitizer were as much a part of the voting process as pens and ballots. Some people showing up wearing gloves and masks.
I'm older, I'm 74, and I've got underlying conditions, so I'm in that target category for the virus. So I was worried about looking crazy, but then I thought, who cares, right? This is more important.
According to the Chicago Board of Elections, there was extremely low turnout citywide in the first 2 hours of voting, about 10,000 voters in the first hour, compared to a usual number of some 30 to 40,000 per hour during peak periods. As well, the effort might have been hampered by a lack of election judges. who simply did not show up today out of fear and the forced relocation of some 50 polling places originally scheduled to take place inside nursing homes.
I understand why people may be kind of cautious about coming out, and like we have a line in there and we're close to each other, but anything can happen at any time. It doesn't take a virus.
Indeed, and according to the Associated Press VoteCast surveys of thousands of voters, about a third of Illinois voters said that they are very concerned about getting infected with COVID-19, and some 40% of voters in each of the states that are voting tonight feeling somewhat concerned. So Illinois having to deal with what was going on in Arizona and Florida as well. Cheryl and Alan, back to you.
All right, Ravi, thank you for that insight. Now, heightened concerns and canceled election night parties have led to a very unusual Illinois primary, with the whole country on edge tonight over COVID-19.
Well, let's be joined now by our ABC 7 political analyst, Laura Washington. Laura is joining us live via Skype tonight to break down what some of these results mean. Hi, Laura. It's great to have you with us.
Hi.
And
Great to see you.
Let's start off with the Cook County State's Attorney's race. And as we've been saying, Kim Foxx has a pretty commanding lead at this point of the evening. And this is a race. It's amazing the amount of money that was spent here and raised, over $16 million by all the candidates involved here. But she at least is holding on to a lead over Bill Conway.
And that is a really significant statement, given the fact that Bill Conway, with the help of his very wealthy father, put in probably close to $10 million, and much of that was put into TV ads. And the thinking was that it was going to be very hard for Kim Foxx to combat that, because TV ads can be such a powerful influence in campaigns.
And we saw a lot of commercials coming out of the Conway camp. Of course, there was the one where Kim Foxx was accused of showing favoritism toward celebrity defendants, and that commercial ran quite a bit. Laura, did it have any effect, or was it effective?
Well, clearly it didn't have the effect that Bill Conway wanted. He pretty much shaped his entire campaign around the Jussie Smollett case and Kim Foxx's mishandling of that case, and he decided to make that a referendum on her. And if her vote holds leads tonight, it's going to be clear that argument didn't work. His challenge was that he was a virtual unknown. He had been as Cook County State's Attorney several years ago, but he was new to politics, had never run for office before, had no political affiliations, had virtually no support from anybody in the Democratic Party of note. And so he was going up against a very popular incumbent, at least someone who was very popular within the party and who had a track record of working very hard around criminal justice reform at a time when progressives are really embracing that cause.
Laura, I want to ask you about the presidential races as you see it going down this evening. Ohio, of course, sitting out tonight because of COVID-19, but even the results that you've seen coming in so far tonight, and Joe Biden further solidifying his stance here as the very likely nominee for the Democratic Party.
Well, it was going to be a very difficult mountain for Bernie Sanders to climb, given the fact that Biden was coming in like a rocket ship off of South Carolina, and then throughout the other primaries that he has won, building that steady momentum and making the case very strongly that he is electable at a time when people are most concerned about that. The other thing is, I think that because of the virus, people are really looking for someone that they see as can be a steady leader who has a lot of experience on the national level in the White House, someone like a Joe Biden. So I think that was an advantage for him too. And in the end, Bernie Sanders promised a broad coalition of voters, particularly bringing in new voters like Latinos and younger voters. And those people, particularly if you look at the Cook County and Chicago numbers, those younger voters just didn't show up today.
And it's worth noting, Laura, back in 4 years ago, Hillary Clinton got 51% of the vote compared to Bernie Sanders, 47% here in the state of Illinois. So a very different night here going on in the Illinois primary. Thanks so much for joining us, Laura. It's really an unprecedented night to vote here in Chicago and in the state of Illinois. Of course, we have results that are still coming in tonight, and we are constantly updating right here at abc7chicago.com and on our free news app as well.
Be sure that you join us over on Channel 7 starting at 10 o'clock tonight. We'll have live reports on all the key races for you. Of course, we'll have the latest on the COVID-19 crisis as well. We'll see you then.